Hi everyone, it's David Elliott, and we all know how important it is to protect each other from these viruses. World Polio Day provides us an opportunity for everyone to celebrate what we've accomplished by raising awareness of polio and other viruses. However, the need to eliminate polio is daily. In the next few moments, we'll explore why it's important, what's being done, and the role you can play.
We have stopped endemic polio in all but 2 countries. Until polio is stopped in these countries too, it's still a threat in every country. We need you to keep up the good work until we can certify that the whole world is polio-free, that no child anywhere will ever suffer from this terrible disease again.
As a Rotarian, you're aware of polio and the quest to eradicate this virus. For a lot of people in our part of the world, polio is just an interesting part of history. This is not the case for 2 people you're about to meet. For Mike O'Shea and his wife Diane, and for Gerry Jurjens, polio remains a factor in their daily lives.
I used to tell the story of how my dad had been away that afternoon, and Mother knew there was something wrong with me. I was just kind of not very settled all afternoon, and she was giving me a bath. She noticed my one leg was no strength in it. It kept falling down, and I was running a fever, and when Dad got home later in the afternoon, they both realized that I was sick.
I'm 68 years old, born in 1951. And when I was just under 2 years old when I contracted polio, had my second birthday in the hospital.
I was in hospital for a month or 6 weeks, something like that. I know I was home for Christmas, but this being the middle of October when I came down with it.
The way that it presented itself was that I had just started learning to walk and was doing fairly well, and then all of a sudden one day I couldn't walk because my right side was paralyzed. Ended up in Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto, and my right foot was not working properly, so they tried to, it was going in like clubfoot. And then, so they corrected it, went the one way, and then it went too far. So they had to redo that, and I ended up with a number of surgeries that way.
I guess the big thing was paralysis in my left leg. I have no muscle from the knee down, and I guess I grew up with that and never gave it much thought. I couldn't run like other kids in my grade, that sort of thing. I couldn't keep up, but I tried to fit in as best I could, and
I mean, it left him with paralysis and a huge struggle throughout his entire life because of having contracted it at the age of 6 months.
I would say I was one of the lucky ones. People look at me funny when I say that, but I really mean that. I could have been left in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, or in an iron lung, or whatever. But I got off easy compared to some of them.
After there was one surgery that I had on my leg, and I'm not sure what they did at that point, but I had a cast on, and everybody else was skating. It was in the winter time, and I was in a real wanting to skate, and doctor took the cast off, and my dad asked the question and said, "Can he go skating?" Doctor said, "Put the skates on." So I had him on that afternoon. So it was like, that didn't hold me back. It slowed me up, but I pushed a chair, but I was skating. So, you know, don't tell me that you can't, you do what you have to do. And I have been told, and I don't know if this is correct, but a lot of polio survivors are type A personalities.
Played a lot of baseball in those days, and when I was up to bat, I would hit the ball, but somebody else would run for me. And once I got on first base, it was up to me to get home.
It's something that I needed to deal with, and for most of my life. And yeah, there's and it's just about every day. So it's I have a definite weakness in my right side, or right leg anyway. The arm is pretty good. I have to be careful. Like if I make a sudden right turn, and like a twist, I'll go down like a stone because I haven't got the muscle mass to hold my knee in place. Like right now, I can't lift my right leg, like my left leg, like that. I can't do that with my right leg.
I feel very grateful that the Rotary has taken on such a wonderful project. It bothers me somewhat when I hear people not wanting to receive vaccine, that sort of thing. Whatever we can do to eradicate it in those two countries definitely would be quite an accomplishment.
You know, like everything's got to have a day and stuff like that, but I don't think it's just one day. Not for me, it's not one day. I live it. So it's, but I think it's important that everybody realize that we can do something. I'm an emotional guy. Anyway, if some of the things that I have had to experience, that if we can prevent this sort of thing in the future, why not?
This year, on World Polio Day, we celebrate that Africa was declared polio-free. The fact that we are this close to completing eradication is the result of the work of Rotarians since the beginning of this quest back in 1989. Our district polio chair, Katherine Hahn, is just one of those thousands of Rotarians whose experience underscores why we need to continue.
Let me try and put into words the experience of dispensing these first drops of vaccine into the tiny baby that was placed into my arms. My hands were shaking. What if I didn't dispense enough vaccine? Could I overdose? To say it was an overwhelming emotional experience would be an understatement. Once we had each dispensed a few times, the fears and concerns we had melted away, and it was very satisfying to know that we were preventing these infants and children from getting such a devastating disease. Our hospital room was tiny, maybe 14 by 14, and there was one door and a couple of windows looking out to a dirt field area where the local kids were playing cricket with my son. We had 4 chairs and a desk and a few medical bags of supplies brought in by the nurses. That was the extent of the medical room, and the people were lined up out to the street. Like most of the groups, we ran out of vaccine. The total vaccines administered that day were around 3,000. We played just a tiny little part in the eradication of a monumental disease that has affected millions of people worldwide. But thanks to Rotary, we're this close to ending polio.
Within 10 years, failure to eradicate polio from these last remaining strongholds could result in as many as 200,000 new cases every year. Rotarians across our district are marking World Polio Day by taking part in the World's Greatest Meal, walks, bottle drives, poses for polio, and dozens of other innovative fundraisers. Many of you will make a donation on the Raise Rotary website. Each dollar Rotary raises is matched 2-for-1 by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So your $100 becomes $300. And at 60 cents for each immunization, it means thanks to your support, a lot of children will be protected. That's a lot of pinkies being painted purple. Thanks for spending this time with us to mark World Polio Day. And thanks for your part in helping end polio now. Thank you.